Young man's perspective, welcome to my lab. This is Kevin E. Taylor, seriously. Natalie Cole and her influence on my life. I'm trying to figure this out. See, Natalie Cole and her influence on my life. Music, data, research, this ability to kind of have these moments and hold on to them. That's me. I'm a young black boy from the projects of Southwest DC who fell in love with music because it took me places through words, through sounds, through rhythms, through experience that I don't think I would have ever known. And I would have never known how to venture outside of the world I thought I was trapped in if it were not for music. And all of it was R&B music, it was gospel music, it was pop music. You know, don't ever get stuck in any one of them, because the deeper you venture into music, the more you'll see how interwoven music is. The pop influences and hip hop and the gospel influences in R&B. You'll just see that you can't hold any of it as outside of your realm, because they are all together. All right, so that's who I am. I am what you see around me. The history of music and all of the things that it takes to bring together words. That's me, and that's who Kevin E. Taylor is. I started at BET in 1991 and am still affiliated with the network. Um, so, can you believe it? My very first interview was my favorite singer, was her. My very first interview was, there I'm getting it, was Natalie Cole for a show called Lyrically Speaking that I created. And so the second that happened, I knew that the dreams that I thought I dreamed were done. That something was about to shift in ways that would not make any sense to me. Because if that was the only thing that happened, it would have made no sense. But so much more happened than that. I remember when Lenny Kravitz came into the network one day to do some spot stuff, and they needed to grab a correspondent to do an interview with him for Screen Scene, our entertainment news show. And they were like, "You know him, you interview him." And I was like, "Are you serious? Like that all these people and to do all this work that somebody thought, go grab Kevin from his desk, he can do the interview." I mean, you know, it's that Maxwell came looking for me because I had a story where I had one of the producers had been listening to Maxwell's music because they were trying to get a feature piece on him, because his first album, you know, the legendary Urban Hang Suite, which is now more than 20 years old, you know, wasn't getting the traction they wanted, and he was listening to the music, and it just came flailing, wailing, moving over my over the cubicles, and it pierced my heart. And I was like, let's, you know, whatever video you got on this dude, give it to me, da 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 da. And to have been played a role in kind of giving somebody the entree into a next level career. So, I mean, Natalie was the beginning, but there's so many moments that I just can't even explain. So, the glory of God. Was my ascension purposeful or haphazard? I don't know that either one of those really describes it, because purposeful meant that you were kind of on the trajectory to make a thing happen. And I couldn't even fathom how to make this happen. But haphazard is just suggested it just kind of fell. So Oprah always says that. What is it? Luck is opportunity meets preparation. So that's how I got lucky. That's how I got blessed. I was always collecting all this music. I used to have trunks of like old Black Beat, old Right On, old Black Stars, old Sepia, Jet, and Ebony magazines, and always read them. So when the opportunity came to interview Natalie, I didn't have to research Natalie. I already knew Natalie. When the opportunity came to sit down with Lenny Kravitz, I had already studied his music, and from Let Love Rule, I knew who this brother was. So it was not new to me. So it wasn't haphazard, but I couldn't prepare for it. But, you know, Bishop T.D. Jakes says, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So there it is. I was already ready. Man, I just can't even. So the trying times, the up, the down, the go away, the come back. The thing, you know, that is always imperative for me is the idea of keeping your mind stayed on the thing you want to do. You know, you can't treat entertainment like a fleeting thing. You can't treat music. Music is literally the soundscape of our living. You know, it is the birds chirping. It's what we hear when breeze blows by. It's what we hear when the horns, you know, beep on the street in madness and traffic. So for me, the stuff that has sustained me is that no matter what was going on in my professional life, no matter what show I was or wasn't producing, there was always music. There was always Mary J. Blige and her legendary My Life album. There was always Maxwell's Urban Hangsuit. I could always go back to Natalie Cole, Natalie Live from 1978, or Aretha's Amazing Grace from 72, or discover somebody new who did something new like Esmeralda Esperanza Spalding, or Jamiroquai, or Michael Speaks. It was always somebody who made the music fresh again, new again. They gave it its rhythm and thing again that reminded me of something old again. So, for me, like that inspires go over there, inspires do that, inspires do that. It's also woven together that if you stay, again, it's that stay ready, get ready. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? And that's the thing that's always pierced the hearts of people when I go to interviews, being able to say, I got this. So, all of this time on BET, I've lived long enough for social media to come along, and I've lived long enough for crowdsourcing to come along. And so, Tony Braxton asked me this one time. She was like, "You should be on TV. Why don't you have a show?" That was the thing that was the original dream for me. When I first interviewed Natalie Cole in my mind as a kid, I was 10 years old, maybe 11, and sitting on the couch with, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to my show, Natalie Cole." And I promise you, that was my little lifelong dream. And while I've done all these great interviews at BET, there was always behind the scene. And when Tony said that, I thought, God, would I ever like Arsenio Hall? Would I ever be like a talk show host? And so as social media grew, so did the idea of bringing all of this stuff together. Sitting down with people who were on a major label and then got dropped or decided to leave. Sitting with somebody who was in one field and the field collapsed and they decided to go in a new direction. Sitting with somebody who had been ill and decided there is no remedy for this, I will create it. Sitting with somebody who was in the entertainment industry and stepped all the way out of it. Those opportunities came along because I was seeing people shift their story in such a way that I wanted to get them to tell people what everybody thought was trapped in me. This, how do you do it? It's not just me and the way it happened for me. Other people had their own version of the how they got it done story. And I wanted them to impart that through this idea of making big choices and taking big chances. That's how now what came along. I wanted the people to hear people tell the story of taking big chances and making big choices. The inspiration behind my writing is literally I wanted in my first book, Uncluttered, to give people the opportunity to take this spiritual walk with me because there's some real big spiritual shifts that happened for me in the process of the last 25 years and moving into pastorate and moving into ministry and doing that at the exact same time that I was sitting with these icons and having these deeper, real conversations with them. And so when I found that some people couldn't grab hold to the theory of the stuff in its self empowerment form, I started to write these stories that created these situations for characters that allowed people to go into the lives of the characters so that they could maybe abandon the whole idea that I don't need this stuff and go into the world with these characters and then go, oh, 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 oh. And so they just kind of backdoor them into a spiritual and a conversation that was also personal and intimate. So. Yes, yes, yes. As long as I'm able, I will give honor where honor is due. A brother by the name of L.M. Ross, L period, M period, Ross, wrote a book called The Long Blue Moon that a brother friend of mine named Michael said, you got to read this book. I read it, and by the time I got to the last couple of chapters, the last chapter and a half, I was in the floor, like in tears of how brilliant this brother had written this story. And it was that story that moved me from, oh, I'm just a pastor dude who's only supposed to be writing for empowerment's sake. And it made the novel in me that I had been holding hostage just kind of really get up and say, we got something to say. So L.M. Ross, I speak your name, King. That brother is a soul song for me. Okay, so who are the more memorable interviewees? Man, it's so. I just wrote my life story called Never Too Much. This is my story of big words, big dreams, and an audacious big life. I say that because I've been so really blessed that in almost every interview, there's been a moment, just a real moment, like, sitting with Tina Turner in Denmark and having her forget the name of a DJ and having God tell me to mouth it to her. Don't whisper it. Don't say it out loud. Give it back to her. Uh, Mariah Carey, I was her last interview before her nervous breakdown, and she was so vulnerable, so raw, and so real. Of course, Natalie Cole. Anita Baker is just like a soul sister to me. That woman, like, just she. We sat down and did the interview, and it just became so many more things. She just kept coming back to me as a journalist to say, "You're my favorite. You're my favorite." That blesses my soul. DMX and I were in Atlanta, and he wouldn't let me leave. He wouldn't answer the last question. He got up and went out of the room and stayed out of the room for like half an hour to ensure that I missed my plane so that I would have to hang out with him that night because I'd asked him a question about God and he cried in such a way that like it sealed us as brothers. So every opportunity to sit down with somebody, no matter how big or small their career is at that juncture, has really been an opportunity to go, wow, this moment is about a soul to soul connection. And so I've had that with little boys of DMX and Brandy when little 12-year-old Brandy says, "Do you like my album?" And we would just anytime I get to engage somebody when they are present in the conversation. Sade was a remarkable conversation that started with me telling her that I was at her very first show in London with the group when they would get ready to go on world tour in 1985. So just all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. So Natalie, will always probably get the crown because she was the first. But every one of them has had a moment of mercy and grace, from DMX to Busta Rhymes to just, Babyface. There's always been something in the conversation that just made you go, oh, this is why we're talking. Man, let me tell you what. I said this. So, young brothers, the brother asked, "Is this playing out in the dream?" Again, I was a fat, black, asthmatic, gay nerd in the projects in Southwest DC, and I was a fat, black, asthmatic nerd in the project. I don't know. I didn't know how. I can't. You can't plan this. You can't plan that holding on to music and holding on to books and holding on to stuff will ever roll up to anything. I went to school for English, Spanish, and accounting. I had a good government job when I graduated. And at 25, 26, I lived in a time where if you were making your age as your salary, you were doing well. I thought I was good having that solid career and then having this music as my sanctuary. I couldn't have imagined the two of them ever coming together. That again is the get ready is always superseded by the stay ready. I had no idea that when I came into BET, I took a $10,000 pay cut, and somebody, we were sitting in these video review meetings, and somebody would say, "Well, when did Aretha Franklin do Respect, and what year did Simply Red do Holding Back the Years, and how many awards did so and so have?" And I would answer. They were like, "Why do you know all this stuff?" And my response would be like, "Why don't you know it? This is black music. This is black history. How come you don't know it?" And I wasn't being like, funky. I was just like, "How come everybody doesn't like live in this world where this is everything you need?" So I couldn't have dreamed it, and I'm still living a life I couldn't have imagined. So that's it. One of the things that somebody said to me very early on that grabbed hold of my ear, and that I realized I was hearing more and more and more from people was, I never thought about it like that. The whole idea that people were like limiting where the information came from, limiting what they thought, what they believed, and to just say, "Well, had you ever opened this portal? Had you ever considered that maybe this was the deal? Had you ever?" And to have people literally say, "I never thought about it like that." I want people to walk away from a moment with Kevin E. Taylor. I'm talking about taking Now What, the tour on the road. I'm now with the autobiography. It gives me the opportunity to do that kind of this thing that's kind of part TED talk, part pep talk, all real talk. And that's really it. That if me, the fat, black, asthmatic nerd, little gay boy who was bullied, had this career where I wish I could show you. I've got platinum plaques all over the wall. I'll send you a couple of shots if you want. Where I've got celebrity phone numbers in my cell. Where I've had people call me for 2 hours. To talk and just talk and talk and talk. And I remember sharing an apartment with my best friend, and he was just kind of like, he was cooking, and he was like, "So, taste." He said, "Come taste this." And the person I was on the phone with said, "What is he making?" I said, "What is this?" He's like, "It's a stuffed pork chop, and it was stuffed with da 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 da." And she said, "Stuffed with what?" Let me speak to him. I handed him the phone, and he's like, "Who is this?" I said, "It's Anita Baker." He's like, he gave her the recipe. They talked for a little bit, said a little couple of things to her. Got the phone back to me. Her kids came in the house, and she was like, "All right, I'm gonna let you go." Blah 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 blah. And then he said, "How is that Anita Baker you've been on the phone with since we left church 2 hours ago?" We were in New Brunswick at the time. Drove all the way back to his place now when we weren't roommates in Harlem. And he was cooking dinner, and I was on the phone with her. We were on the phone for 2 hours, and he just couldn't believe it because, as he said, was but y'all weren't talking about music. Y'all were da da da. I was like, that's work for her. She wants to spend 2 hours on a Sunday talking about work, so we were talking about life. And so that's the kind of stuff. It's about life, and even the greatest entertainers with the biggest career, at some point in their life, wants to just have a life. There's Natalie Maria Cole. I can't even tell you the little boy in the projects who heard this chocolate brown woman sing inseparable, inseparable. What is, and as kids, we were always trained to be able to spell it, define it, and use it in a sentence. Spell it, Inseparable. Define it. As a kid, I had a little pocket dictionary I carried everywhere. I read it was my Bible, so I could define it as drawn together in an eternal bond, never separated, unbreakable. Okay, there it is, but I don't know this word, so I don't know how to use it in a sentence. So Natalie comes forward on this show in 1975 and says, we're like a flower to a tree, like words to a melody of love. There's no way we could break up, no words that could make us blow our thing, because we're just inseparable. And it blew my mind. So my mind was already like cracked wide open by that. And then the interviewer in 1975, a guy named Mike Douglas, asked her when she started singing. She said, "Well, I started singing my junior year of college." Wait, college? Black people can't go to. That's what I do with being smart. I can go to college. Oh my God, I go to college. Oh my God, that's what you do. You go to college. Yeah. So Natalie Cole is literally the roadmap out of the projects for me. The roadmap out of I am too small to I'm too much. I can't be to my greatness. Natalie Cole is each song inseparable. I'm so glad that he rectified my mind, and this will be unpredictable. I've got love on my mind. I love Joey Anime. She is literally the stepping stone out of the projects for me. Um, and to have lived a life with that I'm trying to get it right one time, that woman is not only my soul sister and my icon, but that woman has picked up the phone to call me, that woman has answered the phone when I call, that woman has befriended my family, and you know was was one of the greatest gifts I'd ever given my mother. Two of them being able to sit down, and my mother sat down one time with Natalie Cole after a show at Wolf Trap in DC, outside of DC in Vienna, Virginia. And my mother, Natalie Cole, prepared this beautiful spread for my family. My brother David, my mom came backstage with me, and my friend Michael Elasia. And thankfully because of Michael, that night is documented. He took some nice photos, but just casual, candid. And my mother proceeded to tell Natalie Maria Cole every story. Girl, let me tell you, that was the whole night. Girl, let me tell you. Girl, and Natalie hollered the whole night. Um, to have loved her, to love her still, is the stuff that I can't even tell you what it feels like to have been that little boy who became this grown man who loves her. That's Natalie. That's Natalie in her first Grammy. That's Natalie in her Christmas album. That somebody, I didn't even collect that. Somebody's like, oh, I found this and I fought with this store and they gave it to me because I had to send it to you. So that Maxwell, when Natalie Cole died, Maxwell hit me up on Instagram and said, "Sorry to hear about Natalie. I know how much she meant to you, and I can't tell you how people around the world, big celebrities and friends I haven't seen in 20 years, all thought of me when they heard that Natalie Cole had died. When they heard that Natalie Cole had died, they thought of me. That's my relationship with Natalie Cole." All right, young brothers, listen to me, young kings. Young kings, listen and listen close. You are here on purpose with purpose. Be very clear about that, and be very clear about this, that you get clearer about your purpose, the more madness that comes at you. If you were nothing with no purpose, Stuff would leave you alone and let you crash and burn in the blackness of your young boyness in the hood, in the nerdiness of who you are. If you didn't have an impact and a purpose to bring to the world, why bother you? Be clear that you've got purpose. You are here with a thing to do. Your assignment, if you in fact choose to accept it, is to be about the business of your business. That means stay focused. That means get clear about the thing that you are here to do. And you've got to go through some things and unpack some things and peel back some things to get to it. But when you know, there it is. So say it with me right now. When you know, you know, you know. Once you're clear in your heart, once you sing a song and you turn around and see your sister, your mama looking at you like, oh my God, boy, you can sing. Once you make your teacher laugh and you go, oh my God, I'm funny. Once the light comes on, be clear that it's on and govern yourself accordingly, because sometimes you'll turn your light on and roaches will run. Sometimes you'll turn your light on and moths will be drawn to you. Butterflies will flicker around you. But always be conscious that it is your light. It is your light to cover. It is your light to protect. And it's your light that is your purpose to illuminate the world. So be about the business of staying focused. And something that Dr. Maya Angelou said, be clear that that crown on your head, young king, has already been paid for. The crown already is. Just put it on your head and walk into the world in your royalty. And I don't care if your royalty is in an expensive suit. I don't care if your royalty is in, is in Tim's and a shirt, and a button down. Look the role of the man you want to be, not emulating who you think you're supposed to be. If your rapper raps in a suit, then rhyme in a suit. You understand me? Do the thing that speaks to you. If it's chef, if it's doctor, if it's lawyer, if it's artist, do it in such a way that the world wakes up. The world's light turns on when you get up. Do it in such a way that the enemy of greatness, says, oh, damn, he's up the second you open your eyes. And I promise you, some great things will show up for you when you allow great things to show up in you. Now breathe and get about your business. Peace.